All right, back again with another episode of Empty, a story about a teenage warlock. Today we're going to go over episode 2. Last week we had episode 1. If you missed it, you can go to my YouTube channel and click on playlists, and you will find episodes of Empty as a playlist, or Empty episodes, and episode 1 will be in there. Just want to say thank you to those people. I put out a post about needing subscribers so that I could go live on YouTube, and you guys answered the call greatly, and I do appreciate that. However, I didn't know that you had to wait a while before you could stream live, so I'm still waiting for it to get accessed. So this is coming to you recorded. Hopefully next week, chapter 3 or episode 3 will be live to you. All right, but I am grateful, and I do thank you guys for that. Last week, episode 1, The Secret Within, we found out that Rayden had some powers. He realized that he had these powers, gifts, whatever you want to call them. And so after he realized this, the next morning he wanted to, he got these powers, he wanted to basically test them out. So he thought he would go to the library. And that's where we left off in episode 1. He was heading to the library. This brings us to episode 2, Bloodlines and Trust. Rayden was driving to the library. He focused on the road with no thoughts in his head when he received a call from Rachel. He answered with, "What's up, cutie?" and a smirk on his face. She just laughed and asked him what his plans were for the day. He told her he was going to be busy that day. He had some errands to run, but he said he could catch up to her later. She was pretty disappointed, but she understood that he had things to do, and she was okay with seeing him later because she wanted to spend some time with him. Rayden got to the library and went into the research section of the library, where old articles from magazines and newspapers, both local and worldwide, were located. Rayden planned on spending hours looking in the database for strange occurrences that happened locally. There were not very many people in the library, so it was a good time for him to test his mind-reading power. He looked around at the 4 people who were there and could hear their voices in his head. He looked at the First Lady and focused on just her. She was thinking that Rayden was a pervert, checking her out. So Rayden quickly turned his head from her and focused on the man sitting across the library. He figured out that as long as he could see them and focus on them, he could hear their thoughts singled out. He tuned in and focused on the man and heard his thoughts. He knew the man needed to go to the grocery after the library, and that he was thinking about his wife, Julie. Now he had to figure out how to control it to the point where he can pick and choose whose mind he can read, and to shut it all out if he wanted to. He stayed in the library for hours until he figured it out. He was picking out those people that he thought would be easy to read their thoughts and control it. He just focused on them. And the shutting out of all thoughts was harder to control, but all he had to do was just clear his mind and not really focus on anyone. Think about nothing, and he heard nothing. Or if he focused on something else like what he was doing, then it would shut everything else out as well. Now he needed to test this in a tougher environment, so he decided to go to the mall. On his way to the mall, Rayden's phone rang again, and he answered. It was Rachel again. And she wanted to know, "Hey, are we hanging out or what?" He said, "Yes, we are." He said he was heading to the mall. Did she want to meet him there, or did she want him to pick her up? She asked if he could swing by and pick her up. "Sure, no problem," he answered. So he started towards Rachel's. He has this mind thing close to figured out. He would work on the moving objects with his thoughts later at home behind closed doors. He pulled into Rachel's driveway and honked the horn. Out she came, and she looked adorable. Rayden knew his friendship with her was turning, and he hoped she felt the same. She plopped in the car and punched him in the arm and spouted, "What's the plans?" Rayden, with a loving look, said, "Well, I figure we go to the mall and hang out for a little bit. Is that okay?" She replied, "As long as we do something wild, crazy, and fun later on. I know we can get into some type of trouble." Rayden and Rachel got to the mall. And It was about 6 o'clock, and Rayden was starving as he had not eaten since that slam in the mouth breakfast that morning. He took Rachel to the food court, got some Taco Bell and Chick-fil-A, and they sat down. So far, his theory on the mind control thing was working. He kept his mind clear and did not think about it until he wanted to use it, and then he figured that he would just focus on the person, and this seemed to work. At the library, he didn't really find anything that was of good use to him in the articles that he researched. Nothing strange really occurred in Hickory, North Carolina, where he grew up. Not ever. So he sat across from Rachel, eating a burrito from the Taco Bell in the mall, and he looked up at her as she munched on her chicken sandwich, and he focused on her. He could hear her thoughts. She wanted to go see the new movie that was out called A Whisper in Time, which was a chick flick, but he knew that that was what she wanted. Rachel said, "Well, what do you want to do?" He answered saying, "Well, let's go see that movie, Whisper in Time. Looks pretty good." Rachel looked at him funny and said, "You must have been reading my thoughts, because that is actually what I was thinking just now." Rayden just laughed to himself and thought to himself, "She's going to be mine before too long." So they headed off to the theater. It was right in the mall, so that made it easy to get to quickly. They got tickets for the 7 o'clock show and went to sit down. They got popcorn and Cokes, of course, and the movie started, and the lights were dimmed. About halfway through the movie, Rayden felt that feeling again, except this time he was not asleep, so he knew he was not dreaming. He felt his dad's presence, so he looked around quickly from side to side and front to back. Rachel whispered, "You okay?" "Yes, I'm fine. So no worries," he answered. Rayden continued to look around, but did not see his father. He could see his image in his head, and it felt like he was near. It felt so real to him. The movie ended, and Rayden was a little distraught, so he asked Rachel if it was okay if they called it the night, and she said yes, no problem. "Will I see you tomorrow?" she asked, and he said, "Yes, of course." Rayden dropped Rachel off and headed for home. He pulled into his driveway and got out of his car and walked to the door. As he entered his house, his mother was sitting at the kitchen table, and she had this look on her face. So he focused on her so he could read her thoughts. And her thoughts quietly said, "We need to talk. You need to sit down at the table." She knew that if Rayden sat down, that he was a warlock like his father. Rayden's mother did not have any powers, but she knew if Rayden was a warlock, he could possibly read minds. And if he sat down just from her thoughts, then he had that power. With no words said, he sat at the table and said, "What do we need to talk about?" Rayden's mother began to tell him everything. "Your father is a warlock, which in layman terms is a male witch. And he left us because he felt that if he stayed, he would put us in jeopardy." Rayden wanted to know, why would that put us in jeopardy? His mother stated, because there are such people, a clan so to speak, and they are called the Hunters. These hunters go way back in pioneer time along with the warlocks. The hunters felt if it was their duty to rid the world of warlocks and witches. His mother continued to explain. Rayden then asked, "Do you have any powers?" "No, I am normal," she said. So there was a 50-50 chance that you would not get the warlock powers and be a normal human. She stated that we wouldn't know until your 18th birthday if you had the powers. And I guess we know now that you do. "Well, what does that mean?" asked Rayden. What do I do now that I am a warlock?" exclaimed Rayden. His mother then said, "I imagine that your father knows that you have these powers, and when the time is right, he will come and talk to you." Rayden then asked if that was why she was not upset when her father left. She stated, "I was upset, but I understood why he did what he did. And I have talked to him a few times since he has left, but I could not tell you, and I am sorry for that." Rayden stated that is my father, and I have a right to see him and talk to him. His mother replied that he did this to protect us, and your father was able to evade the hunters for years and still has. But there was always that chance that they could have found him. So he left to protect us. Rayden was upset. He did not want to talk anymore. I am going to my room, he said angrily. That is episode 2. So now he knows that his mother knows. He knows that his father's a warlock. He knows why his father left. But he's a little hurt because his mom and dad did not trust him with this information. And that lack of trust kind of upset him a little bit. So he's kind of mad with that. And he's kind of mad about the situation. He really doesn't know what to do. What's his purpose now? What do I do now that I'm a warlock? How do I control these things? Somebody talk to me, please. I mean, he was desperate for information. Some other things to clear up. It was nice to spend time with Rachel. They'd always been friends. They'd been friends since childhood. But his feelings for her were turning. And he knew it. And he wanted to be closer. And he was just hoping that the feelings were the same on her side. From some of the readings that he got from her, he could tell that, she might like him back too. All right? So that was going to, their relationship's going to get a little closer. So, and then because he went to the library, it was a little easier with a smaller atmosphere to test his powers. So he wanted to do that first in order to get some type of control and some understanding of the mind reading. I hope you enjoyed episode 2. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. I hope you do. It's Eric Ruggles. Type in that and Warlock on YouTube and you should find me. Click subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed reading it to you. I just want to get my story out to you guys. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.